When I was 10 years old, I got recruited, well, scouted more or less, to work on television. So we had in Armenia a version of Disney Channel, and the show was called Here, There, and Everywhere. Absolutely.
totally
You're going to hear
fine.
no from a judge. You're going to hear no from a professor. You're going to hear no from your colleagues. Again, you're going to hear no from clients. This is just not the field. The field of law is not the field where you can afford to be timid and shy. And again, I lucked out because I called and they picked up. I went through a rigorous interview process, and then subsequently working for them, they offered me a legal secretary position. Make sure that when you are studying, you are not just focused on memorization, that you are continuously and consistently building in practice, because familiarity with these essay fact patterns and with your multiple choice are going to breed confidence. As you know, California bar exam is right now going through a bit of a tumultuous time because California Supreme Court has stepped in, and starting in 2028, we're going to debut an entirely new bar exam, one that young individuals like us, startuppers, have not taken. It's called Next Gen Bar.
All rise to drink. Welcome to Sidebar Sessions by CD Law, your personal injury law firm. Your hosts, Miguel Custodio and Benit Dubey. Two lawyers and guests breaking down law and life over a glass of wine. Get ready. This is Sidebar Sessions.
Welcome to another edition of Sidebar Sessions with Miguel Custodio and Benit Dubey. And today we have one of our own, Tamara Yeritsyan, Senior Associate in the PI department. Welcome today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having
Yes,
me.
You are
Appreciate
the
it.
first
Thank
member
you.
of the CD Law team that we've had on the podcast.
I'm honored.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, it's Sidebar Session, so we have to crack open a bottle of wine. And today we shall be drinking Duckhorn 2022 Merlot.
Oh.
You can't go wrong with Merlot and really just Duckhorn.
Yeah. And that was given to us by
By Liz Torres.
previous guest.
Yes. So thank you very much, Liz. I hope you're listening.
Thank you, Liz.
We got really good feedback on that podcast. It was great.
Yeah, that one was very good.
And
It was
Benit, Benit used to love Duckhorn.
Love.
Love.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my go-to
It was good. Yeah. And
for a long time.
if anybody's ever in Napa, their property is amazing. Go visit. It's just an amazing property. Okay, let's open it up. All right, Tamara. So
Cheers.
yes.
Cheers. Salud.
Cheers. Cheers, Benit. From afar.
Yes.
Delicious.
It's good.
So, Tamara.
Excellent. Just what we need for a Monday morning.
Yes.
10 a.m.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up? School, and anything else?
Sure. So I was not born and raised in the United States. I was born and raised in Armenia, city of Yerevan, which is the capital. And fun fact is that I was 14/15 years old when I moved here. So I actually started high school here and then did my undergrad. I'm UCLA, so part of the Bruin family. And also my law school. I went to Southwestern Law School here.
How was life growing up in Armenia?
For me, it was very good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I had a wonderful childhood. Another really interesting thing about me is that when I was 10 years old, I got recruited, well, scouted more or less, to work on television. So we had in Armenia a version of Disney Channel, and the show was called Here, There, and Everywhere. And it was young kids essentially talking about culture, art, events that were happening, inviting various professionals from lawyers to doctors to ambassadors. So it was actually very exciting. One thing that was really interesting is that we didn't have a teleprompter. So the show would air live on television, and they would give us like pages of text that we had to memorize.
As a 10-year-old.
As a 10-year-old, so I
Memorizing
did that.
text and winging interviews.
Yes, and it's all live.
It's a lot.
And,
It's a
yeah.
lot.
So,
Was it paid?
No, it wasn't. In the
Okay.
beginning, it was indentured servitude, but we did get the popularity. So I think the popularity sort of made up for that,
Nice.
because you would go to school and everybody would be like, "Oh, we saw you on the telly the other day.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And that was really cool. But as I got older, some of the projects started to, like would host fashion shows or would host events and stuff. And then I think that the network made a decision to start paying us, a nominal amount. But it was more like for just the excitement of doing it,
Nice.
We were kind of like the pioneers in that because there was no channel for kids that existed. We kind of started it.
It's like the Armenian Nickelodeon.
It was the Armenian Nickelodeon or like the Armenian Disney.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And do you go back and visit?
I have gone back. Yes, I have gone back. It's wonderful. It's my homeland. It's a beautiful city. I highly recommend you to visit. Has a it's so much culture, so much tradition, beautiful museums, a lot of churches, a lot of antiquity. I mean, it's the first nation that accepted Christianity in 301 AD. So, definitely a place with a lot of history. But also, nightlife is beautiful. So many restaurants, so many places to go to, live music everywhere. Now I'm doing PR for Yerevan.
Nice.
If the Prime Minister is hearing me,
Yeah.
Nice.
I will be visiting next year.
Do you still have family that lives there? Or?
I do actually. I do have a lot of family there. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
More
And
than here. Yeah.
So what was the motivating factors that brought your family over here?
So it was actually very interesting. My dad was a classically trained violinist, and he was invited here to perform with his chamber orchestra. And he would come and go often, but then I think a decision was made that he wanted us to go to college here. And we moved here in the beginning of 2000s, and that's pretty much what happened. We stayed and we did college. My dad continued his career here. He established an orchestra where his young students played with professional musicians. So that was actually very interesting because you'd go in, imagine it's an orchestra that's sitting, and you have like a little 7-year-old sitting next to, a prominent musician, a professional. So that was pretty cool.
Did he come on one of those extraordinary ability visas?
Yes.
Because sometimes we have immigration lawyers.
Vineet with the immigration knowledge.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
it is a law
Liz
podcast,
last
sort
time.
of.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah. So, and then we just ended up going to college here, and we stayed.
So your dad was a career musician.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you
Classically trained violinist.
did you pick up any instruments growing up? Like
I did. I played the piano. It was my dad's dream for me to become a pianist. But then after I graduated the music school, because he was a principal of a music school in Armenia that I attended, and I started when I was 5 years old. And I think at the age of 13, we had that conversation when I said, Dad, look, I'm not as talented as you. I don't think you want me to be an average pianist. Like, don't you want me to excel? Because he's always had like very high standards for my brother.
So
and I.
your elementary school was a music like academy or like a music
No,
focused school or what?
No, actually, my school was focused on languages, and I learned English and Russian in school.
Okay.
So it was a separate secondary school, but I also went to music school, which was entirely separate entity.
Okay. Got it.
So in Armenia, I think it's former Soviet Union sort of style that they did, where you had your school, that was your secondary school, right, elementary, middle to high school, and then you had a separate school that was just music school, where you took a bunch of classes in music.
But you didn't have kids didn't have to go to the music school.
No, it was just an extracurricular activity that you engaged in. But in the music school, you had all the classes. So I didn't just take piano. I had music history. I had, choir, dance, everything. It was all encompassing, sort of very well-rounded education. But yeah, after I graduated, I was like, Daddy, I don't really think that I'm as talented as you. Maybe let me explore in another career.
And so when you got here to the U.S., you were how old?
I was 14. I turned 15.
And then where did you go to school here?
Glendale High.
Okay.
Glendale High
the
School.
Dynamiters.
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Okay.
You know why it's called Dynamites, right?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't.
There is a legend that one of the students, actually, it's Nitros,
Right.
in the stadium, he brought a firecracker and it exploded. And it was an explosion that happened in the field. So that's why it's called the Dynamites.
Very nice.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
So how did you find being in Armenia for, a big chunk of your childhood and then coming here, did you guys have friends here, acquaintances, people that you knew?
Yeah. We did have friends and acquaintances for sure. My parents had a nice circle, but I think if you're asking me as a sort of someone that have lived their formative teenage years almost, right, and then you move to a new country.
Yeah, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Boom. New high school,
Yeah,
new culture, new
I mean,
everything.
definitely culture shock. Definitely culture shock. I also want to tell you something about educational system in Armenia. You pretty much graduate school at 16. And so at 17, you start college. So when I came here and I was 14 going on 15, I was pretty much in Armenia. I was already studying for my college exams to go to law school, right? Because it was like my lifelong dream, and I'll tell you how that came about. And then I moved here, and 14, you're a freshman in high school, or at least that's the grade that they assigned to me because they were concerned about, units and graduating and stuff like that. And everybody was like, do you have friends? Like, where are you going to hang out? And if you've been in Glendale High School, it's like huge. It's a huge campus. So they're like, do you know who you're going to be hanging out with? And I was like, I have no idea. I'm just going to try to figure out what I'm doing here. But I was literally with 9th graders where people are just starting high school. But I came from a perspective of I'm pretty much done. I have 1 grade left. 10th grade, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to start college. So that was an interesting culture shock for me because I had to readjust to, wow, I'm a freshman.
Kind of a step back
Yeah,
academically,
and
right?
it's 12th grade. So
Yeah.
back in my time, it was only 10th.
Did they
10th
move you
grades.
up through the process, or did you just do 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th?
I did 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th,
Yeah.
but I did move myself with AP classes. It helped that I spoke some English. I mean, I learned in
sure.
school
That
there,
helped, yeah.
but I had a British accent, so that did not really help.
Is that because
because we
whoever-
learned British
Yeah,
English in
that's
school there.
funny.
Yeah, so
That's
I had
hilarious.
an accent, and I remember health and guidance teacher was like, you have Armenian last name, you have this British accent.
What is going
Are
on
you
here?
like ethnically challenged? I was like, no,
That's
I'm
funny.
just,
I'm just cultured.
I'm just
Yeah.
cultured, I guess.
Yeah, that's funny.
Did you
Yeah.
continue playing music in high school, or did you?
Yes, I did. I continued to play the piano. I still do.
Yeah.
I was still jam with my family. Everyone, I think it's a thing in my family where everyone needs to play an instrument. It's like mandatory, and they all
It makes
do.
sense. Your dad
Yeah.
doing what he did,
Yeah.
right? Being so talented to
Yeah.
like pass that on to the kids.
My mom is a sort of a retired pianist as well, but then she went into sort of diplomacy and kind of had a second path in her career. But she's also a classically trained pianist. so-
Diplomacy, what is it? Let's talk about that.
Oh, she worked for the Department of State
Here.
in Armenia.
Oh, in Armenia. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Here she works for the Los Angeles County.
Got it. And what
Yeah.
did she do? What did she do over there?
in the Department
Yeah.
of State. Well, she was one of the diplomats that worked in the Department of State, and
Did she travel?
she traveled. She traveled a lot for work. She also was fluent in Russian and English, so she would also do a lot of work with visits and United Nations, and whenever they visited different secretaries of state would come on for trips and visits. She would translate during those as well. So it's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
That's cool. So after high school, straight to college?
Yes,
And where did you say you went again?
UCLA,
UCLA. And what
Yes.
was your major?
International Development Studies.
All right.
And
Cool.
econ.
Nice.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
So double.
and I minored in Spanish.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you live at home or did you?
I commuted.
Okay.
I commuted like my life depended on it.
From Glendale?
Yes,
Glendale.
from Glendale.
Yeah.
I don't miss that commute though.
Nice. Did you like UCLA undergrad?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was absolutely wonderful.
Nice.
It was absolutely wonderful. I was very involved. I loved the campus. I, loved what it offered. I was very happy to be there.
Nice.
It was, a long time coming, especially when you move from another country and you start high school here and everybody's already, working towards SATs and, prepping, and you kind of are thinking, oh my goodness, am I going to make it?
Right,
Like,
sure.
am I going to make it to go straight through, or what needs to be done? It's definitely a culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely takes some, integrating, but I was very fortunate that it happened.
Did you join any organizations on campus?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me
Yes.
about that.
Actually, I'm very grateful to UCLA Alumni Association, which sponsored me. They probably really liked my essay.
Nice.
Yeah, so they sponsored me, and they actually gave me full scholarship. So 4 years, that's part of the reason why I commuted.
wow.
Yeah.
Because I did not have to take out any loans, and I was fortunate enough that the Alumni Association has actually funded sort of my tuition.
Yeah, full ride, huh?
Yeah, and gave
incredible.
me some stipend too. Every
wow.
10 weeks, I got some, money,
Nice.
some gas money.
Gas money, yeah, for the commute, huh?
Yeah. No, it was definitely more than gas money. I was very fortunate. It's a really prestigious scholarship, and I'm glad that I was selected.
Did you work while at UCLA?
Yes, I did. And actually, because I know that a lot of prospective law students and college students are watching us, I would want to tell you about what I started
please.
doing, because this whole career path in law started at UCLA.
Well, earlier you said I'd always wanted to be a lawyer. Like
Yes.
So why don't we go back to
Yes.
what made you want to become a lawyer, and then you can talk about your first job as an undergrad
Sure.
in law. So why did you want to become a lawyer? Was it your mom being a diplomat, or what was it?
No, my grandpa was an attorney in Armenia, so he had a sort of big influence on me growing up. But I also, those years that I worked on television, I developed such an affinity for public speaking. But I always wanted to have the opportunity to advocate and persuade and help, and watching my grandpa do it in court, and then subsequently him becoming a judge, I really started to express so much interest in the profession. And I was like, I think that now I can pair the public speaking with the notion of I'm going to help someone, I'm going to advocate for them zealously, and I'm going to, let justice prevail, so to speak. So that was growing up. That was, he had a very big influence on me. And then when I moved here, I wasn't sure if I'm going to continue the journalism. I worked on like some Armenian networks for a little bit when I was in high school, but I realized that I still want to try the law path. And so when I was at UCLA, I joined the pre-law organization, the Alumni Association, as I told you. I was in Armenian Student Body Association, the UCLA Student Body Association, a bunch of stuff, debate team. So I was very involved. But I remember at that time, this was circa 2009, 2010, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Chris Brown trial that was going on or Michael Jackson. One of those that Mark Geragos was a lead attorney on. And I saw it on the television, and I watched Mark give interviews on CNN. And I was like, oh boy, I really want to intern for a law firm. I want to see if I'm going to like it. It's a very different system in Armenia versus here. Here is precedent, Armenia statutes, a civil code. So I said, I really ought to try this. I really want to go intern and see what comes out, if I'm going to love it. And seeing Mark Geragos on television, I literally picked up the phone, I looked up their number, and I called them and I said, hi, I'm really interested in coming in to intern. Can I please come in for free? Just give me a shot, interview me, I'll send you a writing sample. And I remember at that time, paralegal Gita Peterson packed up, and she's like, when in fact we are looking for interns. Where are you from? How did you hear about us? I was like, honestly, I saw you on television.
Never hurts to ask, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always tell the young kids too,
Yeah.
right, that watch the podcast.
I was like,
Reach
look,
out, ask, cold call, cold email.
Literally. And I was like, I would like to offer my services for free. I don't even want the school units. I'm a student at UCLA. I'm in my third year, and I'm just really excited to try. And it was so captivating, that opening argument. I really want to see if I want to be an attorney and if I'm cut out for it. So I think exploring at an age where you're still in college, not even when you're in law school, but when you're in college and trying to figure out if law is what you want to do, it really helped me. So I encourage my mentees now to do that.
So had you called anybody else, or was Geragos' office the first?
Geragos' office was the first, because I was watching that trial and I was so captivated by everything that was going on.
Right. What can you tell students that are a little hesitant to just randomly cold call somebody? And I get that, right? It can be a little daunting sometimes. So
True.
Especially when you're calling like a law firm.
yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
The law firm and the guy's on TV.
Yeah, big time guy like
one of the
that.
biggest trials
Yeah.
at that point.
I would say I was young and very gutsy, but I called them. I also, back in my day, and I don't want to say back in my day because it was not too long ago, but let's think about it. 2009, 2010, we didn't have all of this, right? We didn't have podcasts. We didn't have that social media where you can casually write them, like maybe message them under their podcast or email them. You kind of had to pick up the phone and do it. I did the same thing in high school when I called Congressman Adam Schiff's office, and I was like, I was told that I should do an internship, and I'd like to intern for our congressman
That was in
in
high
our
school.
district. That was in high school. And they're like, come on in. So I was like, if it's a tried and true method, if it worked, then I'm going to do it. What I can say is don't be shy.
Yep.
You can be shy.
Yes.
If you are choosing a career in law, you have to advocate for other people. So how are you going to advocate for somebody else's rights and their livelihood and their problems if you can't advocate for yourself? Right?
Yeah.
It's great advice.
So-
No, it's great.
It really
so
is.
that's how I kind of saw it. I get it that some people are timid and shy, but it's better to start making these strides at a young age before you entered law school, because in law school, guess what? It's Socratic method, right? You get questioned, you get called on in class.
Yeah.
So if you're shy to call and offer free labor,
Yeah.
that's I think that one thing is people need to know it's not that bad. People love receiving these calls. I mean, every time I receive a call like that, I absolutely love it. I want to help out. I want to encourage. I want to provide outlines. I want to give guidance. It's flattering.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't shy away from doing it.
Something that's really important is, I think people, if they get a rejection, a lot of times they will just kind of stop, right? And it's important for people to understand that just based on what you're telling us, I know that if you would have called Geragos' office and they would have said, sorry, we're full, or we're not taking anybody now, you probably would have picked up the phone and called somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's really important, right? Because I don't want to say you got lucky, but you called the congressman, you called Geragos' office, and boom, they're like, yeah, come on over, right? A lot of times it's not like that. A lot of times you have to call 10, 15, 20 people.
Absolutely.
And I think the important thing is you got to keep trying, right? Because if they say no, you're just back at where you started, right? There's none, I think sometimes
You're no worse.
Yeah, you're no worse.
Yeah.
People feel like, and I don't know if maybe it's an ego thing, but dude, get over it. You're going to
Absolutely.
hear no's in your life.
Absolutely.
It's totally
You're going to
fine.
hear no from a judge. You're going to hear no from a professor. You're going to hear no from your colleagues. Again, you're going to hear no from clients. This is just not the field. The field of law is not the field where you can afford to be timid and shy. And again, I lucked out because I called and they picked up. I went through a rigorous interview process, and then subsequently working for them, they offered me a legal secretary position, and then they offered me paralegal position. And then they offered to write a letter of recommendation for me, and I studied for the LSATs. But was I entirely prepared to call the list of other law firms that I looked up in newspaper and Googled? Absolutely. And, in the career, you shouldn't really take no for an answer, especially as a student that is trying to figure out if this is the right path for you.
Nice.
Because this is a serious path, and you need to know ahead of time if this is something that you want to get into.
Yeah.
And look,
Yeah.
we have lots of young students and law fellows and law students and undergraduate students who reach out to us, and
Absolutely.
every time they do, right? We look at their resume, we look at if there's a position,
Yeah.
can we refer them to somebody? We really try to help them, right?
And don't you love it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
and it
never
makes us
are
feel
like,
great.
why
Yes.
did this? Why did this student reach out
Yeah.
to me? How dare they?
And if
No, I
if
think
they don't
on
reach out, they'll
contrary.
never know, right? They'll never get a little helping
And we
hand
won't
or a
know
leg
about
up.
them if they don't reach
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
it's something, I was on a law fellows panel this weekend, and one of the panelists, he volunteered to work at a law firm's, like a night person there for free. And he says, the only reason I got that was pretty much because I told him I was going to just work for free, right? And so you have to have that, I think, hustle, because I think that's hustle. In my opinion, that's hustle, right?
100%.
It's just, I'm going to pick up the phone.
Yes.
I'd love to say that everybody has it, but I don't, and I don't think it's something that you either have it or you don't. I think you can learn by watching other people and hearing other people and just knowing that it's you can do it, right? But those are things when we're looking for people here at this firm, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people that can think quick, right? Because you may have prepared for that call, but they might have asked you something that you weren't prepared for, right? And so it's super important that you got to think on your feet, right? And I think that goes
Absolutely.
hand in hand. So advice for all of you all listening, it's important to just seriously don't worry about rejection.
No.
just try.
Put yourself
don't-
out there.
Yes.
And don't
put
take it
yourself out there.
Put yourself
personally.
out
Yes.
It's really not personal. I
not.
mean,
Yes.
they could have been at full capacity.
Yeah.
I would have called somewhere else. But, you know, it's you really shouldn't let that get to you because it's not personal. And what's important is that you want to explore ahead of time if this is the right path for you. So you are learning to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think persistence really works. Also, as a segue, or just as a side note, I was an immigrant kid that was paving her way. So I had to be very resilient, and I had to find out what I'm doing. Because I am forging my own path. Somebody is not really, I don't have a cousin that graduated and is already a lawyer. For example, my brother just finished law school and just took the bar. Now that I have been doing this for almost a decade, he gets advice from me, and I can sort of tell him you should intern here, or at least show him the way, right? But I didn't really have anybody showing me the way, so I had to find the way.
And that's the beauty of more and more minorities going into professional schools, that they're going to be able to help their own families or other people that are younger to be able to pick up the phone and do that, right? Same thing. Growing up, I didn't, my dad was 9th grade education, my mom 3rd grade education. Growing up, I didn't have that ability to call someone and say, hey, is this a good career path or not, right? And so, but that's changing.
Or could
now.
you get me an internship or recommend something? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's changing. One more thing that I, in the Law Fellows panel that I heard this weekend was one of the speakers was saying, when I was in law school, he went to UCLA Law. He said, when I was in law school, he said, I knew the kids that had family members that were lawyers because they would be studying in school at the library. And if they had a question, they would step out, call them on their phone, and then they'd come back. And, and they would do that so often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, look, I'm not saying it's unfair, whatever. I don't have an opinion on that. It just is. And if you have that ability or privilege, go for it.
Sure.
Use it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I love the fact that now that's also opening up to minorities, and you can help people, your brother or other people. And I know we're going to get into how you help, future lawyers. But yeah, it's just something that's super important. And I'm glad that there's a lot more minorities entering the professional field, especially in law.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's really
100%.
nice to see. And then you pave the way for your fellow minorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And so, all right, so you do this internship there at Geragos' office.
Yes.
I'm assuming you liked it because you became a lawyer.
There you are.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it. Again, it was a rigorous interview process, even just for an internship. But then, I learned a lot. I initially wasn't sure if I wanted to do criminal law, but working there, for example, that's another thing that students that are watching us, or college students that are intending to go to law school, look, it was a criminal defense firm. And it was very exciting to work on these cases, right? Like, it was exciting to be at Chris Brown's trial. But at the same time, I began to realize that it's intellectually stimulating, but I probably don't want to be criminal defense attorney. But I would love to be in court, and I'd love litigation.
Why not?
So I said civil.
Why not criminal
Why not
defense?
criminal?
Yeah.
I'm too harsh. I feel like
Harsh
I wouldn't give him. I wouldn't give the benefit of a doubt
to your client.
to my client.
Gotcha.
To the accused.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, jokes aside, I mean, obviously, Sixth Amendment right. Everybody has a right to representation. No, I just feel like criminal defense is not an area of law that I'm particularly interested in.
No, and look, that's
Yeah.
that. There's a lot of people that don't do criminal defense because
Yeah.
they're like, look, these guys, they're being accused of some crazy crimes. I can't sleep at night doing that.
Just, I think emotionally,
Respect
I would.
to that,
Yeah,
yeah?
I would get, like, when I would even look at the discovery, like some of the murder trials and stuff. It's just hard stuff. I'm not cut out for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved the litigating aspect. I loved the trial, the courtroom. So that was really exciting. Again, I became a secretary there and the paralegal, and so I realized
Think about
that,
how important that lesson is that you learned
Yeah.
interning
Yeah.
there, right? That
Yeah.
you love litigation, you want to be in court, you don't like, that's
and they were like, Tamara,
that like shaped your career path.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And then they paired me with attorneys that were doing civil litigation. So I got to see that. And I was like, you know what? Civil lit is what I want. And so when I started law school at Southwestern, I was like, I'm definitely going to go on trial advocacy team. I'm definitely going to become a Dean's Fellow. I'm going to tutor and speak and be involved and sort of hone in on that skill of being unafraid of speaking in front of my cohorts, in front of public, and also, the advocacy.
Yeah. So tell us about your the process, the LSAT process for you.
Oh, the LSAT process for me. I took test masters. This was very long ago.
Yeah.
I know that when my brother was studying for
Test
the
masters.
LSAT. Yeah.
Don't
test
say it. It was a long time ago.
Well, I'm saying that because
An
at the
up and coming company called
An up-
Test Masters.
It's brand new.
Kaplan.
a startup.
Yeah,
a startup
there
called
you go.
Test
Startup, yeah.
Masters. I was one of the individuals that tried that startup.
There we go.
Look, I think during my time, we just had those books, right? And we would meet only one time with an instructor, right? Because it was in the startup era.
Like once a week?
Once a week, yeah. And it was hard. LSAT was hard for me. But again, you have to understand, English is like at this point my third language, right? I'm not a native speaker. I'm not really used to doing multiple choice.
Yeah.
Because back in my country, it was all essay-based writing. I had to make a lot of adjustments. So every time I would get a logical reasoning question wrong, I'd be like, Tamara, but you're smart. You do well in school. Why is this not clicking? But then again, the hustler mentality came in, and I was like, I'm just not going to take no for an answer. I'm just going to do it and keep trying it until I get the score that I want.
And they don't have the logic games anymore, right? I don't think that's
No,
part
but
of the
they did
LSAT.
at the
But
time.
back then they did.
Yeah.
Well, because that was like...
Well, they just changed that though,
few
right?
years ago.
Yeah,
I'm
just saying now they don't have
Yeah,
it,
now
right?
they don't have. No, they
No,
really they don't have logic games.
No, I
They
think
don't
they've
have the
taken
games.
it away.
They don't
The
have the
hardest
games,
part
they have
they
the
took
logical
off.
reasoning.
That was
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah, the games they
I
they
know
took
I'm
it
gonna
off.
sound like one of these old guys that it's like, well, I went through it, so everybody else has to go through it. But
Wait until you
logic
hear about
games
the
are kind
bar.
of important.
It was the hardest part of the test.
It was the hardest part of the
It
test.
really was.
Yeah.
It was the most challenging part.
I'll tell you more.
Dude,
Some law
yeah.
schools actually.
That's me right now complaining, a dinosaur.
Can I tell you something that will be even more disheartening for people like us? Some law schools that don't even require the LSAT anymore. And I remember that when I was studying, I had a 4.0 from UCLA, but I kept struggling to get up my LSAT to be that candidate that they would like because they were leveraging the LSAT so much.
Yeah.
But now some law schools don't even require an LSAT
Look,
score.
here's the thing. There's attorneys that have gone to really good law schools, and Vinny and I have dealt with them, and we're like, dude, these guys are fucking stupid, right? So it doesn't, like, me saying, they should have these tests and stuff, it's not. I'm just saying it because I don't like it that I had to work my ass off, and then now people don't have to do that. But I don't know how I feel about Vinny. How do you feel about certain schools not requiring a LSAT?
I don't understand it. How do you differentiate? You just look at people. I mean, there's tons of kids now that have 4.0s, right?
Fill out the application, and then we'll take you in tomorrow.
How do you differentiate from? I mean, just the
The
essay and the
essays.
grade point.
Do I
average?
sound like a hater?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we'll let the comments speak after the podcast.
Yeah, but I really don't know how do you differentiate candidates if you take these ways to differentiate.
You have to filter
Out of the
something.
equation.
I don't know either.
Right?
I think it's a bit of a rite of passage. It's this whole theory, the narrative that they're pushing now with doing away with the bar entirely, right? So then I think it's the same premise that they're saying you don't really need the LSAT. But look, when I was studying for the LSAT and I was struggling, I was like, why do I need this? Logical reasoning and logic games. And my best section was reading comprehension.
Yeah, mine
I
too.
think that section just carried me through. Logical reasoning I was good at, but the games I just couldn't get them down. But one thing is just keep practicing it and know that you have to get it right. It's just familiarity breeds confidence. You have to take the practice tests.
Look, so I'm bitching about the logic games being taken out. That being said, people that master the logic games, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a really good attorney,
No.
Don't we?
So I do see
examples?
why they would take it out,
Yeah.
but at least fill it in with something else that people have to fucking work.
More reading
work hard,
comprehension.
or something. I don't.
Something that leads to showing
Yes.
you're going to be a good
Yes.
law student,
Yes,
right?
and whether that's
Or
like you
attorney.
said, more reading comprehension,
Whatever
if
that is,
Yeah.
right?
You can't just make it shorter and
Absolutely. But I
Or
do
just do
think
away
that
with it
is-
entirely,
I
like-
think it is a measure of your analytical skills, though. Absolutely. So I think the test, as much as I despise studying for it,
Yeah.
I think the test has to be there. As you said, it differentiates candidates.
Yeah.
But I was going to tell you that now I hear from my students that there are so many other tools that they have, so many other websites that they can use.
Who's they?
So many
Students?
other tutoring
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
the students that are studying for the LSAT now, there is more than just test masters. And I'm not.
But does that make it-
anti-test masters campaign? But it's just there is more tools that they can use online that are available to them to break down some of those issues
Okay.
that we were having, for example.
Okay.
Because I just had the book and I just had that instructor.
Yeah.
But now, you go online and there's like so many other avenues of AI explaining it to you, other websites that like break things down,
Yeah.
the logical reasoning questions, the games. They make it so interactive that I'm like, wow, this is very interesting. When my brother was studying for it, I was like, this is actually really exciting.
Yeah. Who did you take for prep?
I feel like I didn't take a class. I got the books from somebody who had taken it. Was it Kaplan maybe?
Boy genius.
I got the books and I did practice tests.
That's it.
You are
That was it.
cerebral.
That was it. But
So-
I've always been very, very good at tests.
Yeah, and look, that's
the
right.
thing. I've
There's
always
some
been
people that
very
are
good
really good
yeah.
at tests.
That's true.
Yeah, but
That's true.
I got the books from somebody that had it, the course books from,
Yeah.
it must have been Kaplan, right?
Right.
And then just studied those on my own.
Oh,
and took practice tests.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so then you got into law school. You went to Southwestern. Tell us about your experience there.
I loved my school. I love Southwestern. I mean, it's a great school. I'm so proud because it's one of the first schools that started to accept females, embraces diversity. So it definitely had a wonderful experience. I did it all from student body to trial advocacy to I was a dean's fellow. And the dean's fellow position was students that were selected by the dean of academics, and we would essentially help the incoming 1Ls and 2Ls with contracts and torts and the classes that they were struggling in. So that
So
would
like
be
tutoring.
sort of
Great.
tutoring / teaching.
Nice.
You were kind of assisting the professors
That's
and
cool.
doing like one-on-one.
Like a TA?
Yeah, sort of like
Yeah.
a TA, but you had a little bit more of a leverage because you actually could conduct workshops for the class, for the audience. So that was really great
Was
because
it
you
paid?
kind of, yes, it was. Yes, it was
That's
paid.
pretty cool.
That is
Yes,
cool.
it was
That's
paid.
a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And especially because you've taken that class and you've done it
Yes.
and you've been through
Yeah.
it. So obviously you
Yeah.
can give them tips on how.
Naturally, you had to have the grades
Yeah.
to be selected as a dean's fellow because I think at that time they would select only like 14 people to do it to tutor the incoming classmen. But it was very interesting. Definitely very intellectually stimulating.
So does Southwestern, because I know this happens at other schools, does Southwestern cut like a certain number of students every year? Like if you don't, because I know there's some
Yes.
schools, right?
Yes,
So
they
tell
do.
us a little
Right,
bit
there's some
about
schools
that.
that will
'Cause
drop the bottom
there's people
third,
that don't know about that, right?
Or
Yeah.
bottom
Yes.
25%.
That is a very true thing.
You get
Yes,
kicked out of school.
our school did that as well. Yes.
So they cut off what, a quarter or a third, or
I would say the 20 to 30%. I remember
Bottom.
after first year.
So at the end of the first year, everybody has their grades, and then the
Yeah.
bottom 25%
After first
See ya.
semester, what happened?
get kicked out of school, basically, right?
Yes. So after
Rough.
first semester, you go on
competitive,
academic
huh?
probation. But if you don't make it out of the academic probation, and I think at that time you had to be above 2.5 or 2.7, don't quote me on it. But you had to be above that for the second semester of 1L. And if you don't make it, then you get cut.
did you know anybody that got cut?
I did.
That's
I
sad,
did.
huh?
It was sad. They really tried, but they just didn't make it. And then come to I texted the person because we were friends, and I was like, "Where are you?" And they're like, I essentially was. I'm going to try again.
Oh, okay.
So what you can do is you can reapply. As I said, I think my narrative today is don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
it comes to your education and your career,
Yeah.
advocate for yourself. And you know what? An interesting fact. I'm not going to name the name of this person. The person not only reapplied, they reapplied with a different school, and they're a very good attorney right now.
Good for them.
practicing.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
Good for them.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
they
Way to bounce
they
back.
turned
Yeah.
around. Way to bounce back. I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that thought at the back of people's minds when they're in school, like, fuck, I could get cut?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And when I was a 1L, I remember first semester, those same dean's fellows that were older than me, they'd be like, you should not be below a B. Even a B minus, you're pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be at a B average. And I was like, oh, no. we're,
And you
we're
know what they
sticking
don't
to
do
an
for
A
those
average.
kids that got cut? They don't refund what they
Yeah.
paid.
Oh,
Nope.
no.
Nope.
No, they don't.
I guarantee you that
But
doesn't happen.
I guarantee you 30%
keep
of
that
our
money.
class was gone. 2L, the people that I knew, like, they were just not there.
And so do they do that also for 2 and 3Ls, or it's just a 1L thing?
I think it's the one after the first year. I think the
So if you
ABA
survive,
Yeah, then
then
The
you're good
ABA
second and
mandates
third.
The
that
Navy
you have
SEALs
to,
of law
yeah,
school.
Yeah,
no,
right.
for sure. I think after
ring
two,
the bell.
Yeah, 2L, 3L people just, they kind of get it together and they're like, oh, if I'm going on academic probation, I'm going to,
Yeah.
make sure that I turn it around somewhere, somehow.
And Southwestern was the old Sears building, right? Or something like that?
I think it was the old Macy's.
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 Yes, it was
Okay.
the first
That's right.
Macy's.
Sears.
And
Sorry.
fun fact
Sorry.
is that we still have the little runway in our library in the Bullocks Wilshire building, and we have
That's right. You were saying.
the beautiful drawings of the haute couture.
That's funny from back in the day.
Yeah.
from
it's a
back in the day.
They're
It's a nice
Bullocks.
building.
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Bullocks. It was Bullocks.
So many sleepless nights
Bullocks
were
was
spent there.
a department store. So I don't think it was it was
I think it was the first
Bullocks.
Macy's. Yeah, but Macy's was there.
Bullocks then turned into Macy's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Why am I all into retail department
It's a
stores?
very pretty building, though.
It's
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
nice.
Yeah.
Vineet,
It's a landmark.
do you remember where our first office was?
Steve Kim, right?
Yes.
That's over by
right
Steve Kim's
across,
office.
Right
Yes.
across the Southwestern.
That's the only reason why I know that building.
Oh,
yes.
no way?
Yes.
If I'd known, I would have called
It's-
you and interned.
It's
Well,
we rented
we basically
office
rented
space,
an address,
an address,
a little bit office.
and yeah, we could use a conference room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it was on Craigslist that we were able to that building right there.
Wow.
Right, Vineet?
Yeah.
It was
That's
where
like
the
right
Bank of
across from
America
us.
is.
Yeah, the Bank
Yes.
of America
Yeah.
was in the lobby.
Yes.
Yes.
And Mr. Steve Kim, if you're out there, you really helped us out. You did. He rented
Super cheap.
super cheap.
Really?
And it was like seriously, it was like $100 or something silly like that.
Yeah.
And he would let us use the copy machine.
Yes.
And he wouldn't charge us for the copies.
Nope.
Which was
how
super
lovely.
cool when you're starting up. I mean, any help you can
Yeah.
get.
And his
is-
receptionist
Yes.
would get the mail.
Yes.
Or we'd
Miss
get our
Kim.
mail sent there, and she would always have it
Wow.
ready for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super
He really
cool.
helped.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
He
How
really
nice
helped us
of
out.
them.
Yeah.
And so then Southwest, you took advantage of everything there.
Yes. It was the best time of my life. It was
does-
academically rigorous, but I also participated in everything. And I really advise for people to do that.
And so did they have like the, what is it, the OCI, the campus,
On campus interviews.
on campus interviews?
Yes, they did do that, and I participated in that, of course. Every year we had OCI interviews, and I was going to say now once you're in law school, you have to do your internships for sure. So it really did work out for
And
me.
what internships did you do?
I've done an internship with a judge.
Okay.
I also did the
What judge?
study abroad program, Judge Mavis in Pasadena.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
The externship was part of my advocacy class, so that was really interesting because you really get into learning how to write objective memorandums, memorandums of points and authorities, and becoming really good at legal research and analysis and writing and finding those good cases, and then feeling really happy because you're like, I found what I'm going to distinguish.
So you had to go to Pasadena?
Yeah. Yeah.
How often?
Twice, I think twice a week.
Okay.
Twice a week, and then
And Judge Mavis was older judge, younger judge, man, woman. I
He
don't
was
know.
a male. He was
Okay.
a male, and he also taught. Judge Mavis also taught the trial advocacy class at Southwestern.
Oh, nice.
I also.
So you were his student?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I also did an externship with the California Association of Realtors because at that point
CAR?
I thought, yes,
Yeah.
I thought that I was gonna get into sort of real estate law.
Yeah.
But then again, I tried it out and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna stick to civil litigation. Another thing that I did was when I got into Southwestern, and I think some of your followers may know that Southwestern and UCLA offer great entertainment law programs. So I initially thought that maybe I would go into entertainment law.
Yeah. Especially
Right,
with
so-
your background.
So
as
so
a
many
host.
times, so many times I changed my mind. And after first year, I did the London Study Abroad program with Biedermann Institute, and I took classes in privacy and international law and journalism.
Another law student doing
Yeah.
study abroad
Yeah, that we didn't know.
Did not know
Which
that was a
blew it.
thing. Yeah.
And it was
And-
great.
so it was
in
where?
London.
What-
It was in London.
Yeah, but what school?
Through Southwestern.
Right, but
but
what
we
was-
were in the University of London.
University of
and
London.
we dormed, and it was like a 6-week program, and We learned about the strict privacy laws in UK.
That's cool.
Versus our stuff. A lot of First Amendment classes, sports law, entertainment law. It was great. And when I came back, I actually did an internship at Paramount Pictures. So I went in my 2L year. I did an interview. They had a lot of people from all of these Ivy League schools. And I felt, like I am the Harvard of Koreatown. So I said, look, I'm not going to be intimidated. Everybody was from Yale and Harvard, but I was like, look, it is what it is. It's a great school.
That's a good one.
The Harvard of K-Town.
The Harvard of K-Town.
So just so everybody knows,
it.
Southwestern
Is
is
in
in Koreatown here in LA. So
Yeah.
That's funny.
There were so many great candidates. That room was filled with so many amazing candidates from all over, and primarily, again, from all Ivy League schools. But you know what? They picked 10 people, and I was one of them.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was a paid internship. And then I, worked there for a year and a half. I learned a lot in contracts law and drafting and international distribution and marketing. So that was really exciting. But I realized that I'm still very drawn to civil litigation.
Yeah.
So ultimately, my third year, I interned for a civil litigation firm, Rodney Masriani. And I realized that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end up in civil lit.
We had a case against that guy, right?
Yeah, the name is very familiar.
I think we
Masriani, yeah.
I don't even want to say.
He's a PI,
He,
no, he's
but
plaintiff
also
side.
does employment. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Employment
Yeah.
and personal injury. Yes.
Good. Well, look, it looks like you had a really busy law school life
Very.
and career.
Very full and very busy.
I mean, I'd like to say I was busy, but I mean,
I was nothing near that.
No.
Not even close.
Well, you were busy Thursday evenings. At the
bar reviews.
Bar reviews. Yeah.
It's so funny and so counterintuitive. I'm going to
And
make a shout
Fridays.
out to my friend Vince.
And Saturday.
He was an upperclassman that came up to me and said, Tamara, I think you should help me plan bar reviews. And I was like, really, Vince? Me? He's like, yeah, you.
So you did?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Okay.
So on top of all of these academics that I was so involved in with like the Dean's Fellow, the trial ad, law journal, this, that, I was also planning bar reviews.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And there was one bar review that it was like for all the law schools, right?
And
Yeah.
people know what
Every
bar
year they
reviews
have
are,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do-
Century
our-
City.
I got kicked out of one of
Really?
those. I
Do
did.
our audience know what bar reviews are?
Yeah, let's talk about a bar review. What
Let's
is
talk
that?
about it.
Yeah, so every Thursday night, they pick a bar in the area, and everybody from the law school goes. And you just hang out, and it's a night out at the bar, and it's with your
Is that
students.
how you guys did it?
That's how we did it.
Because Fridays, if most of the time you don't have class. On
Yeah,
Fridays.
especially upperclassmen, right?
Upperclassmen,
2L
yeah.
and 3Ls, you didn't have class on Friday, so Thursday night people would. So at least at UCLA, they would pick a different bar in Westwood or Santa Monica, and that's
Yeah.
where everybody would go and just hang out for the night.
So you guys did it weekly.
Yeah.
We did it bi-weekly, and we actually closed down a club.
Now, does biweekly mean once every 2 weeks
or once,
twice in 1 week?
Yes,
Twice a month.
that is the worst
That is
word
the
worst
in the
word.
English.
Language.
And I've told you already because we've had a
Yes.
conversation. We're talking about a case, and I'm
Absolutely.
like, or meetings, and it's like biweekly, and I'm like, okay, I know this sounds stupid, but is this twice a week or once every 2 weeks? Anyways, whatever. Sorry, it's
And it could
stupid.
be either one.
It's stupid.
It could be either one.
Yeah. So biweekly, and
I
you
think
guys closed down the
people
bar.
drank bi-weekly.
Yes.
People went out bi-weekly.
Yes.
But, or maybe weekly. But the bar reviews, yes, would actually close down an entire club. And all of the people from our law school.
Oh,
and
so you
it
guys would rent
Oh,
it
wow.
out?
We would rent it out.
Oh,
We
wow.
would close
Every
it
2
out.
weeks, huh?
No, not every 2 weeks. Once a month. Once a month.
Well, it's easy cutting
Every
the,
2 months.
the bottom third then.
Yeah, every 2 months. You know, they wanted us to be, socially
No, it
engaging.
is. And
Yeah.
look, it's super important.
It's work-life balance.
We tell people that a lot of times the best connections are the ones that are made in social environments.
Absolutely.
And so that's good.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
we would
good.
sponsor it with other law schools. So let's say UCLA, USC, Loyola would all come together, and they would close down a club, and it was all law students that would just, mingle and spend time together.
Get trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And commiserate about,
Commiserate
what
about-
was going on.
Yeah.
But it was so fabulous because Friday we had real property, and everybody was like, it doesn't matter what time you went home. 8 a.m. everybody was in class, and that is stamina,
And there's the
Yes.
kids that didn't get cut.
and that is
Yes.
dedication.
Yeah.
and
There we
commitment.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you finish, and then you start studying for the LSAT. I started for the bar.
Yes.
So how was that?
brutal, brutal, but it just has to be done. I mean, it's 10 weeks, July bar right after you graduate. So, I took, what did I take? Oh, I took Jason Tellerico, one-timers.
Wait, what is it?
Jason Tellerico.
That's a guy's name.
He has a guy's
Okay.
name. And his company is called One-Timers.
One-timers. Okay.
Yes, I took that. I also did a little bit of Barbary as well because our school at the time was offering Barbary. But I primarily took
How much was
Tellerico's,
that course? The James.
Jason's course,
Jason.
oh my gosh, I think it was like 4,000?
For 10 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe a little bit more.
And what was that
Don't
like?
quote me.
Was that like online?
He's going to comment under this video.
Was that
Jason, I don't remember the rates. Your rates are your rates now.
Yeah. And so tell me, what was that like? What?
So
Every day or?
we met weekly with him at the end of the week on Saturdays for the whole day for
In
8
person?
to 9 hours
Okay.
in person. But we did have like a very rigorous schedule of what needed to be done during the week.
During the week.
So I really liked that because what he did that was different from other bar prep courses, and now I can speak about it myself because I do bar prep now, is that he spent a significant amount of time on a specific subject. So let's say if we were learning contracts, unlike other bar prep courses where they say outline for one day and then do like 30 multiple choice from another subject, he would stay on contracts for the whole week, for example, or
Okay.
for multiple days until you solidify the concept. And in addition to doing that, you would do essays and multiple choice. So imagine you're working up that same subject. You're doing substantive review, you're also doing practicing essays, and you're also practicing multiple choice, all in contracts. So that really worked for me. And then meeting with him weekly to do practice tests, and we had a practice essay round that we had to do, timed, and would submit it to him, and he would grade it, and his TAs would grade them for us and give us feedback. That really worked for me.
And
I
how
think it's
big? How
really-
big was that class?
The class wasn't that big. I think it was like about 20 to 25 students at the time.
That's pretty big. $4,000.
And so let's talk. Another thing
raking it.
we kind of wanted to talk to you about is you have your own bar prep company.
Yes.
Yes.
And so did you formulate that idea then when you were taking those classes? Did this happen after you took the bar? Did the way he did his method as opposed to Barbary like have a light bulb go off in your head, or how did you get the idea?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question and a kind of a compound question for me to answer because what happened is I took the bar and I got my results and I was an associate working at a personal injury firm.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I got a call from Barbary and they said, we know that you took the bar and we'd like to offer you a tutoring position with us. So I said, how did you know? They said, we reviewed
Did you get that
answers."
call
So
after you took the bar?
People should know that I did not take Jason's one-timer because I did not pass the first time. I don't know if you didn't know this. You probably didn't know. So I, when I graduated, I was already working for a healthcare company. It was like, and I was in their in-house department. And because I didn't need to have a license right off the bat,
Yeah.
I decided I would not take the bar exam. So I took so I didn't take it with everybody else. So when I actually realized, hey, you got to take the bar, I studied on my own without any plans. I just kind of studied, just like, okay, do some, multiple choice and whatever, right? And I did not pass. I got like a letter saying, you got so close to passing that you went to a second reading. So that's what the bar does.
Yeah, that's
and then if you get within a certain number of points, you go to like a third reading, right? Where it's different graders that are trying to see if maybe the other grader missed something. So I got to that third reading and I didn't pass. And I was like, okay, I didn't feel devastated because I realized I was really close and I felt like I didn't have a plan. And this is a great intro to what you're going to talk about. So after that, I reached out to people that I knew that had passed the bar, and I reached out to Avon Hernandez, who was one of our prior guests here on the podcast, and he told me this very, very simple thing, which was like, look, every day you're going to do a certain number of multiple choice, and you're going to do a certain number of essays, and just do that every day. It was so funny because it was so simple, and I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. And then I did it. I took the bar, and I remember finishing like early, and I thought, dude, I either bombed it or I just aced
Nailed it.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I passed it, and I, like it worked. So I think a lot of times people don't pass because they don't have a set plan,
Yeah.
right? They're kind of scattered.
Yeah.
True.
And so, anyways, I didn't take the one-timer. I would have been a one-timer, but I was a two-timer. And not only that, but I probably screwed up UCLA's bar passage rate because most of those people are passing the first time around.
It's not 100%.
Yeah. Thank you, Vanita. I appreciate it.
So-
That's why he's my partner.
Yeah. So you get the call from Barbary,
Yeah.
right?
I
Did you
got
do
the
that? Did you
call.
become a tutor?
Yeah, I did. I was like,
So,
oh,
sorry, real
sure.
quick. And Barbary is one of the leading.
Yeah, a great bar prep
Yeah,
course.
right.
That's the course that
So
a
that
lot
was
of
big,
people
them
take.
calling
yeah.
you.
And I mean, and I took it when I was studying for the bar as well. So I kind of, I sort of double dipped in both of the courses, right? So, and I love it. I still think that Barbary's multiple choice is the best multiple choice to practice. But yeah, when they gave me the call, I said, sure, I will tutor. And then they explained to me what I had to do. And I said, look, I love teaching because I was a Dean's Fellow at Southwestern. I said, I would really enjoy this. Why not? And it was, extra income. Why not? So, and that's how it started. When I started tutoring for them, what they would do is, and I still am a tutor with Barbary, but I'm now a senior tutor because it's been going on since like 2017 or so.
Wow.
But they pair you with a student, and then it's very much based on what that student needs, right? Do they need help with multiple choice? Do they need help with essays? Or do they need help with substantive review? But doing that brought up the idea in me where I decided that I'm going to do something along the lines of individual tutoring. So I'm not competing with those big companies like Barbary or One Timers or Kaplan. I'm not. What I am doing is I am helping repeat takers through individual studying because I realized that when I was doing that 101 through Barbary with a student, I realized that different people have a different way of learning things. They comprehend things differently. They process information differently. Some people are visual learners, others are auditory. And the ability to explain something and tailor it to that person, that was very important for me. And I kind of developed that idea of I'm going to have an individualistic approach. And I take a very small amount of students because obviously I'm a litigator for a living, but I take 3 to 5, not more than that. And it's one-on-one tutoring.
So when did you start that?
I started that in 2019, 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
it was more of an inception of pandemic that it just kind of came, that idea.
you just
came
thought
to
about
me.
that.
Yeah, that I will do the individual
Right.
one-on-one tutoring.
And
that's
so-
geared towards repeat takers and out-of-state attorneys.
And what did you start doing to put it out there? And what's the name of it?
Bar Prep with Tamara. It's called Bar
Easy
Prep.
enough?
Easy
Makes
enough.
sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Makes sense.
I clearly didn't have the marketing team that we have in house. I wish I had our amazing marketing team like Gustavo and Daniela to help me come up with something creative.
Nice.
But it was COVID, and Tamara was working at a defense firm, and maybe I was not creative enough. But I came up with Bar Prep with Tamara, and what I did, ladies and gentlemen, I recorded a video on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And I said that, I used to do this with Barbary. I'm still doing this with Barbary. But I also want to offer my services for one-on-one for those students that haven't passed on the first try.
And may I stop you? Obviously, look, we've already established you have that hustler mentality.
Yeah.
And obviously
Big time.
it's very, very apparent
Yes.
in this. Vinny and I get approached by attorneys that are just starting their own practice. They maybe worked at other firms and they're like, what should I do? Should I had a conversation with a young attorney on Friday at the Lakers game, and he was asking me about SEO and all this stuff. And I said, look, right now you're on your own. Just start handing out your cards. Start telling everybody that you know
Everybody.
about what you do and that you're here and that you're available. Social media, it's free.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, it's free. Just you start posting. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know I got to do that. It's just, I don't even have a social media account and I'm, kind of shy. I said, look, you know what? Sorry to tell you, nobody really cares about you. Nobody cares about me. If you fuck up, it doesn't matter. Just start. Just start.
Yeah, absolutely.
And And it's great because look, you just and I mean, so
Just started.
Yeah, just started.
I just recorded
Posted
a video.
Yes.
Yeah.
I recorded a video.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
said, this is what I'm doing. I'd love to help pay it forward to law students that are gearing up to take the bar, or for those that haven't, passed on the first try. It's individualized, one-on-one. And then what I started to do is I started to post videos about like helpful tips and tricks about the bar, like how to study, what to focus on in various subjects, breaking down different subjects. And, interestingly enough, I started to get students, right? And then they became also my advocates in a sense because
Of course.
Sure.
I get a lot of business actually.
You
through
want
word of
people
mouth.
people to pass because
Yeah.
then they become
Yeah.
your mouthpiece. You're
And they
you're-
do. And honestly, now I do get a lot of,
Referrals.
referrals that are word of mouth. And I really pride myself in that because I really appreciated that it comes from a real human being as opposed to just a review online because they can vouch for the experience that they had, and it's an honor to be part of someone's journey. But at the same time, when that someone recommends you, right? Like just in the attorney world, when someone says, I've had a great attorney, had a great experience with them, I really recommend them.
So
It's a
let's
different sort of
The best
marketing.
referral you can
yeah,
best
it's
referral,
it's
yeah.
awesome.
By far.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's break down the bar process. So the bar is offered how many times a year? When do you take it? How long does it take to get your results? Talk to us about that.
Sure. So, as you know, California bar exam is right now going through a bit of a tumultuous time because California Supreme Court has stepped in, and starting in 2028, we're going to debut an entirely new bar exam, one that young individuals like us, startuppers, have not taken. It's called Next Gen Bar. So I will talk about that later, but I just want to preface it by saying that that's going to be a whole another ball game, very different from what we have done.
Yeah.
Okay, we have taken the 3-day bar. After our time in 2017 February, they started to administer a 2-day bar, which gets administered twice a year. There's a July bar, the traditional bar, which people take after graduating law school if they graduate in May, and then there's the February bar. It's now 2 days. The testing is about 6 hours every single day. So first day, California offers 5 essays and a performance test. Remember back in our day, it was like 3-hour performance tests?
Yeah.
2 days. Now it's only one performance test. It's 90 minutes long, and you have 5 essays. That's your day one. So in the morning, you come in, you do 3 essays, you take a lunch break,
How long is the lunch?
an hour, and then you come back and you do 2 more essays, and you take the PT. So it's about 3.5 hours, the second portion of the first day, the afternoon. And you're done about
What's PT?
Performance test.
Yeah. Okay.
Performance test. The second day, you do the multi-state multiple choice questions, which is the MBEs, with all of those 8 subject areas in federal law that you get tested on. All of the states take the same MBEs, right? So that's what California has been doing since 2017. But moving forward in 2028, it looks like we might become, also the subscribers of Next Gen Bar. And that's a very controversial topic. So we'll see what California decides to do. But the Supreme Court said that our bar exam needs to change.
So what is next gen? Is it not essays or is it not what is it?
Very good question. It's a really novel way of doing the bar exam. So the way that we know it, the way that we perceive it, the way that we studied for it, right? With the subjects, the memorization, being so theoretical, and you writing about the rule of law, they're navigating away from that and moving more towards performance tasks. Performance tasks, a lot of recognition of legal writing and analysis and issue spotting. So what's going to happen is going to be like sort of a combined way of testing your multiple choice, an essay, and a performance task from your managing partner, but it's going to be very interactive and it's all going to be on your laptop. So no more papers either. And it's going to test your 8 foundational topics like contracts, evidence, torts, con law, crim law, con-crim pro, but they're also introducing CIF Pro. They're also introducing business associations, which is going to be one of those seminal subjects that they test on. But you no longer are going to be required to do so much memorization and write the essays the way that we would prep for it. You do memorization and then you issue spot a fact pattern. Oh my God, it's a contracts question. Let's write it out. Now it's going to be more of a mixed approach of you'll do the multiple choice, but then you'll also be given a task to do, and that test is going to have its own fact library and a fact file. And now the students are more learning how to recognize the fact pattern that's in front of them and apply the sources that they have to the law. So they're navigating away.
But
from what we
didn't
know.
we have that like ethics or professional wasn't there-
Responsibility.
right? There was
Yes.
a professional responsibility part of the bar exam, right?
Which is mandatory. You get an essay.
Right. But in
every
that
bar.
essay, you had a file, right? Everything was like one universe in there, if I
For
remember.
PR, so for the essays, you get a fact pattern.
Right.
And you have to write from memory the law.
No,
You're applying the law to
right.
the
But
facts.
what I'm saying is the concept of having a file.
That's for performance
Right,
test.
right, but-
it doesn't always have to be professional responsibility.
So
It's different subjects. That
So,
they
but
test.
what I'm saying is that we've had it already. It's just now they're making it more part of the exam.
They're making it more part of the exam in a sense that now the exam is going to be more technical in a sense that they are really testing your ability to recognize fact pattern and act on it, not you regurgitating the information that you have memorized because you're writing to the essay. This one is more of an approach that, they're seeing how the first year, second year, third year associate is going to do, where they're just giving you a fact file with already your case law, as opposed to what we did when we had the fact pattern and we're like, oh my God, let's recall all of the rules that I learned in contract so they can answer this question.
So it seems like it's going to be a lot more
Very
practical, pragmatic.
Yes.
Here's
Very
a real life
practical.
situation, sort of you
Yeah.
able to counter as an associate, figure it out, and let us know how
Yeah.
you would do.
And they're doing
which doesn't sound like a
rollouts.
bad thing.
No.
Right?
No,
I mean,
it's very practical. It's definitely very dynamic. It's different than what we are used to.
Yeah.
But I want to encourage people in realizing that's why I said that when we took it, it was 3-day. It was different. Then it switched to 2-day bar. It's an evolving process. This bar exam, it's a rite of passage. So it is only natural that it's going to evolve. But with the next gen, for example, some of the states like Connecticut and Oregon, they've already rolled it out.
they're already doing it.
And I also saw online that they're offering $1,500 to take the mock exam. So if any of the students are interested in, that are planning to sit in for the 2028, they can actually register and take the mock practice test. And all of the information is on the NCB website. And another great thing about Next Gen is that we will have the reciprocity. I mean, all of the states are going to recognize it. We're moving more towards
nice.
uniformity.
Good.
Yeah.
So you
it's-
pass that one bar, and then you can immediately be barred in every state that uses that.
If California decides to do that
But
reciprocity, yes.
California doesn't, right?
No.
Generally not.
No, but we'll see. If we become members of Next Gen, then it looks like the portability
Yeah.
will, transcend among states. Because the Next Gen is sort of the more complex and sophisticated cousin of the UBE, what they're doing now.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to be grandfathered in if that happens.
Into
We
other
may.
states.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Right.
A
Yeah.
year before 2028, the state
Could open
bar
up a whole new world.
Yeah.
has to give notice if they want to move forward
right.
with the Next Gen.
So California still has.
or if they want to come
Time.
up with their own exam. Because recently they contracted with Kaplan, and Kaplan was writing our questions, if you remember that 2 years ago.
And now they're not.
They still are, but it became a little bit contentious because there were issues with software. There were allegations that some of the multiple choice that they were supposed to write was written by AI, and it was glitching, and multiple answer choices were correct.
And
So-
NCBE stands for.
National Committee of Bar Examiners.
Got it.
Yeah.
So going back to the bar process, so it's twice a year.
Twice a year.
How long does it take for people to get their results back?
If you take the July bar, your results come out in November, right in time for Thanksgiving. So either it's going to be a great Thanksgiving or not so great Thanksgiving. But then the February bar, you take it in February, it's end of the month usually, and you get your results in May. So my students are going to be receiving their results very soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon. Nice. And so your class, you take just a handful of students,
Just a handful of students, yes.
and that's from until the next bar test, right?
Yes. So, for example, you graduated law school in May. We start studying in May all the way until the July bar, so for about 10 weeks. And the same goes for the February bar. So right before the bar prep starts for February, I usually take on students in the beginning of December. If they're a repeat student, I mean, they know by Thanksgiving if they passed or didn't. December 1st, I start. But I stay with them all throughout the process. and it's individualized tutoring twice a week, but I also grade their essays. We do the multiple choice. I do substantive breakdown of the material for them, and I really stay on them to a point where they are sort of micromanaged by me.
So are you using the same method for these kids, or do you tailor your method to each kid? Because you're saying, remember you said everybody learns differently, and you've figured that out.
Yeah.
Do you still teach them the same method, or do you tweak it once you kind of learn the kid?
I think that what I offer, that I pride myself in, is that I tailor it per person, per that individual's needs, because I run a diagnostic with them, and I'm able to sort of decipher, are you a good writer? Maybe you're a good writer, but you're terrible at multiple choice. But maybe you're great at multiple choice, but you cannot write an IREC. So I know what to work on. That's why I take only a handful, because it allows me the opportunity to really focus and hone in on the skill set that they need to work on and develop.
And do you see yourself getting more applicants than you can take on?
Yes.
And so what do you do to those people? What do you tell those people?
I tell them that I would have loved to tutor them, but unfortunately, I'm very busy
Yeah,
at Custodio Dubey.
Right.
No, I refer them to other tutors.
Right.
I always share resources, and I always encourage people to reach out, because if I can do it, at least I can navigate you in the right direction.
So you would say that graduating or law school, the best thing is, would you say, is tutoring, like a more personal tutoring, or a combination of like one of these big classes and tutoring, or maybe just your first time around the big classes? What would you say?
It's really very individual, I think. Like as Vineet said, like he's a great test taker. So I bet you took Kaplan or Barbary? What did you take? Barbary. And you didn't need the individual tutoring, right? But Barbary offers within its mass course that individual tutoring aspect. So I really think that it depends on the type of learner that you are. But I recommend for law school students that just newly graduated, because all the information is fresh in your mind, take one of those standardized companies like Barbary, like Kaplan, can't take Kaplan anymore because now they're working with the state bar, but Barbary is great, Themis is great, to see if that method connects with you. And you can do tutoring on top of it. But my program specifically is geared towards repeat takers, people that have done this once before, because now we're working more on individualized needs that they have, as well as on out-of-state attorneys. So I have partners from let's say Latham Watkins or Malvin and Myers out in East Coast, and they want to move here. So they study with me and would take the California bar and would take the attorney bar.
I hope you charge them more. Because they're from corporate law firms.
A lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more.
So
you hope, right? No, just kidding.
And I'm sure when you find out that they pass the bar, I'm sure it's very, very fulfilling and satisfying, right?
Every year, every bar, I feel like I'm relieving the stress of it all.
Yeah.
With them. Some of my students ask me to check the bar results for them.
For them? Oh my God.
Which is an honor, but also gives me a minor heart attack every time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I have a strong heart, so I think that's okay. But look, I tell them this is a rite of passage. If it didn't happen for the first time, look, we have so many greats that haven't.
I don't know if I'm great, but
look, I mean, again, it's not.
Literally.
Watch yourself.
We kid.
I mean, we have Supreme Court justices that took it multiple times.
Really?
Yes. So,
Are those the ones with the shitty opinions?
Look, I'm not trying to get canceled on this podcast.
Right.
So I will forgo the names, but they know who they are. And we have a lot of politicians that have taken it more than once, and they're, running the country now. So that being said, you are not to get disappointed by that, because you pick yourself back up. You possibly call me, I'll give you advice, and you retake it. But I do recommend one thing that I would like to reiterate in this podcast with respect to bar exam. If you did not get lucky first time, don't let that get you down. For sure, restudy, but do not take a break. I know that finances go into it, work, like I worked and I studied, so I understand that not everyone can afford it. But if you can retake it immediately, retake it.
Do it while
there
it's
is
still as
something
fresh
about
as
that
possible.
primacy effect that you're so upset with what happened and you want to right the wrong that those endorphins are going to fuel your fire. So don't take a break. Because when people take the break and they work, then it's harder.
They
I
get
tutor a lot of
comfortable.
people that are working and are studying for the bar. And, my hat goes off to them because it's incredibly difficult.
But you can tell the difference, right?
You can.
Yeah.
You really can.
Yeah.
So
It's tough. Look, it's tough because if you find out at Thanksgiving or November that you didn't pass, you essentially have no income, right?
yeah.
Until the next time you're studying and you get the results,
Absolutely.
so it's a 6-month process.
It's like May. That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
So it's something that is I hear a lot of people, I didn't pass, but I need to work, I need to pay my bills, right? So it's tough. It's a tough.
So one
position.
advice for that is if you are going to have to work, because I worked and I studied, it's doable. You're definitely not going to have any life, but then there's like this reel going around that says that when you're young, you shouldn't be thinking about work-life balance. You should be hustling, paying your dues. So I'm a bit of a proponent of that, and this message might connect with you, and if it doesn't, you can disregard it. But I think that if you are working and studying, then maybe start studying ahead of time. Give yourself that extra month. So if you found out in November and now they're good about releasing the results in the beginning of November, start studying second week of November. Give yourself that time. Study for a longer period of time, but do it. Work in that extra period of time.
Take advantage of every day.
Yeah,
that
take
you
advantage
have.
of everything, really.
Yeah.
That's some good advice. And as we wrap up, I'd like to ask you to give the audience 3 tips, for studying the bar. Just 3 tips that you think are probably the most important.
Okay. I have more than 3, but the 3 that are most important. I think number 1 tip, and this is very psychological, you have to like it. Know that this is what you went to law school for. This is your license. And when I was studying for it, I was like, you know what? I'm really going to like what I'm doing. Because psychologically, it's going to really fuel my fire in a sense where I'm not going to dislike, I'm not going to dread it. I'm going to be proud of it because this is my rite of passage. So embrace it. Don't fight it. I know that it's incredibly difficult, but be proud of it because what's worth having does not come easy.
Yep.
So it's definitely going to mess a little bit with your head. So be confident, but learn how to embrace it and love it. Number 2, you have to put in the hours. And I know that it's quality over quantity, but believe me, all of those blogs about, I studied 2 hours, 3 hours, and I went out and I did the bar reviews, that doesn't work. You have to be very methodical about it. You divide up your day, you begin with your outlines, you do the multiple choice, and you do the essays. So dedicate the right amount of time
So
for
there's
studying.
no substitute for the right
There
amount
is no
for the time, for
shortcuts.
the hours, right?
Yeah.
There
No
are no
shortcuts
shortcuts.
for the
I
reps.
understand if you're
Yeah.
working and you're studying, maybe you're pulling all-nighters, but you know what? It's worth it. It's going to be worth it at the end of it. It's the best thing that you're going to do for yourself. You went to school for it. You've already spent the money. You've already spent your youth becoming a JD. So this is the final accord, final step. Third, make sure that when you are studying, you are not just focused on memorization, that you are continuously and consistently building in practice. Because familiarity with these essay fact patterns and with your multiple choice are going to breed confidence. You are not going to be startled on the day of the exam. You're going to look at the fact pattern and you're going to say, look, one way or another, I have seen this before. And I think you would agree with me, right? Like the more essays that you've issue spotted, the better you felt about it when you opened the booklet and you're like, well, I've seen something like this
Pattern
before.
recognition.
Pattern recognition. So definitely do a lot of practice. Understand what you're doing. Don't just memorize. Understand. Try to understand and explain it to yourself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Great pieces of advice.
Thank
how
you.
can people get in touch with you?
They
Aside
can,
from calling the office.
they can,
We're going to get a bunch of calls now.
they can message me on LinkedIn, on Bar Prep with Tamara on my Instagram and Facebook page. And look, it's always work in progress. I am working on my website, but I really
I
haven't
was
had
going
the
to
time.
say, let's pull up her
I
website.
haven't had the time to make it, so it's still in the works.
Okay.
But they can definitely reach out to me via Instagram and Facebook and my LinkedIn.
Okay. And Tamara Yeritsyan.
Yeritsyan.
Yes, perfect. Well, look, Tamara, it's been really, really wonderful having you on here, hearing about the bar prep and obviously your journey. It's a unique journey.
Thank you.
But we're grateful to have you here, and I know the staff really loves you, and so
Thank you. I love them.
Thank you for sitting down with us and having some wine, even though you didn't really drink too much. But it's because we got to go back to work.
Yes,
Because I'm being
thanks for
interviewed
being
by
on.
my partners. So, trying to continue to make a good impression. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it was
And
a
I'm
pleasure.
grateful for the opportunity
Yeah.
to sit down with you. Thank you.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Sidebar Sessions by CD Law. Subscribe to our podcast channel and follow us at CD Law Firm. Wine picks are welcome. From Custodio and Dubey, your personal injury law firm. We'll see you next time.